Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. I'm your host Aiden, and today we are talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's new movie, The Smashing Machine.
Hello everyone, I'm Matt, and as Aiden said, we're going to be talking about A24's newest film, The Smashing Machine, a film based on the true story of Mark Kerr from 1997 to 2000, following his MMA career and the start of the sport, mainly focused in Japan. Now, let's take a look at the trailer.
Probably looking at my eyes.
How did that happen?
Well, have you ever heard of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC?
That's the bloody thing they're trying to ban.
This guy is the best he has ever seen.
Do you hate each other when you fight?
Absolutely not.
How do you know Mark Kerr? Oh, we go way back, but he's a buddy of mine.
Come on, baby. Too much?
Never.
Too much?
No.
Please welcome in his Octagon debut, Mark Kerr!
Winning is the best feeling there is. It's 40,000 people,
Yeah.
and they're cheering you on. There's no other high like it in the world. No contract, no money?
No money.
Do you have any stronger pain medication?
Advil?
Advil?
Yeah.
Don, would you like?
No.
They're handing them out like candy. Let's all get in. Everybody get in. Hey, Don, can you take this picture for us?
Yeah.
What are you thinking at the beginning of the fight?
It's simple. Am I going to hurt him before he hurts me?
Yes, there were times, I'm sure
This Grand Prix to crown the greatest fighter in the world. He has come back from the brink. Let's see if he can pull out a victory over Mark Coleman. Have you spoken to either about fighting such a good friend for a life-changing amount of money?
I faced it all,
I just need you to let me in.
I took the bull.
Always about you. Only about fighting you.
Let's fucking go. Big strong man, I love you.
I think he wants your autograph.
Sure, no problem. No fighting.
Benny Safdie, the director of Uncut Gems and villain in Happy Gilmore 2, took up the mantle as he directed A24's The Smashing Machine, starring Dwayne Johnson as Mike Kerr and pro MMA fighter Ryan Bader as his friend Mark Coleman. This movie follows Kerr through his problems with opioid addiction and a domestic falling out with his girlfriend after losing his first match ever. MMA fight. After a rules change about using knees near the head.
This movie dives deep into the early days of MMA, back when the sport was still changing the rules all the time. We follow Kerr through his rise to fame, his brutal fights, and his personal struggles behind the scenes. What sets this apart from other sports dramas is how raw it feels. It's a harsh, unfiltered look at a guy trying to keep it all together while the whole world watches. Let's take a look at some behind the scenes.
I'll never forget that call.
Mark Kerr, the Smashing Machine, was the godfather of heavyweight MMA.
He was the greatest fighter on the planet. And in many ways, he was invincible. My own life experiences allowed me to live in Mark's skin and know what it's like, the pressure to perform, destroying your body every single night.
There's really only one person in the world who can do this. I'd say to him, can you bulk up for it? Which is a crazy thing to ask him. But Mark was a big guy. DJ became a different person.
The physical transformation gave me goosebumps, like jaws dropped. To see this person who is never allowed to disappear, completely disappear.
I saw it in his eyes. He accessed something where he put himself in Kerr's body. That level of dedication, he went all in.
I was just so happy that we could shine a light on the legacy that's left.
Get up, Mark, get up! To go deeper and see Mark's real relationship with Dawn. They were like two comets coming together, like
They had this bond, that kind of love that is intoxicating. Smashing Machine is a love letter to relationships, to the grace of winning and the lesson of loss.
The journey of Mark Kerr is to accept who you are. That's a triumph. That's a win.
Now, as you might have seen, this movie looks like it's straight out of the early 2000s, being filmed on mostly 16mm film with some 70mm film and VHS cameras mixed in there as well. But as I said earlier, Benny Safdie, who both wrote and directed this film, has had some major success in the past, with him directing Adam Sandler's Uncut Gems and later starring as the CEO of the Maxi League, the antagonist of the film, in Happy Gilmore 2. Safdie also stars in Licorice Pizza and Oppenheimer.
Dwayne Johnson trained extensively for this role. He put on 30 pounds of muscle because the director asked him to get bigger and puffier. That's a crazy thing to say to Dwayne Johnson. He worked with quite a few former and active fighters and shadowed real MMA camps all the time to nail down movements and mindset. Ryan Bader, who plays Mark Coleman, is a real MMA fighter who competed in the UFC. Kerr's trainer in the movie is played by Bas Rutten, who's in the UFC Hall of Fame. The toughest opponent in the entire tournament is played by real-life Alexander Usyk. He is currently the heavyweight boxing champion of the world and one of the greatest to ever do it. That's part of why the fight scenes feel so legit. On top of all that, Dwayne Johnson asked that Japanese fighter at the end of the movie to actually hit him. That's why everything looked so crazy.
This movie only follows the prime of Kerr's career, 1997 to 2000, where he won 2 consecutive UFC heavyweight tournaments. He fought for another 9 years after the movie ends, but his career went into a downward spiral after that. He lost his last 5 matches of career. However, he was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame by Dwayne in June of 2025. This film lists 6 people and 6 companies as the producers. Now that's a lot of hands in this cookie jar. Now with a runtime of 123 minutes and a $50 million budget, means it costs $390,625 per minute of runtime. And by Thursday, October 9th, it's only grossed $7.3 million back, which, in my opinion, isn't that surprising.
That's a terrible opening. That is a bad box office flop. Dwayne Johnson responded by saying, "In our storytelling world, you can't control box office results, but what I realized you can control is your performance and your commitment to completely disappear and go elsewhere." He's still honored to have transformed himself to play this role. We'll be back after this short message.
Hi, this is Peter, and he's in the animation program. I got to experience everything, and I just signed up to do animation. The on-set experience was something that I wasn't expecting, but I'm very grateful for. Amazing instructors, John, Rich, and for me, Todd and Nolan.
Put my glasses on the floor.
This is Abram. He does stuff.
Right now we could get a waterfall. So I've always really been interested in video editing and video production. Ended up coming here to Hennepin Tech to learn more and expand my repertoire. There's definitely a side of a social side to it.
Now, Matt, I can harp on Act 1 for quite some time, but I'm going to ask you about your thoughts about the movie first.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very cool way of showing how fighters lived their lives back then in the early 2000s and the late 90s, because it's very different than how it is today. Everybody today, they're very famous. Everybody knows them. And at the end of the movie, it actually talks about how everybody knows the fighters of today and how famous they are, and how nobody really knows the guys that were the pioneers of the sport. And I think it was very interesting to learn about them.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the best part about the movie. Either that or Dwayne Johnson actually acting a role in this movie instead of just playing himself, which I'd say that's pretty solid. But that's about where where the good of the movie ends for me, because Act 1 is so boring. Nothing happens. It looks like a reality TV show, like Big Brother or something like that. When he just walks up to a door, it cuts to him just punching through a door. He also goes through a second door, so that makes Dwayne Johnson 2 and doors 0.
It does. No, I can agree. Act 1 was a little bit boring. I felt like they really used that time to show what his life was like outside of fighting before we really got into the actual matches in the second half. I feel like it was kind of boring seeing him go to a store and buy a China bowl and groceries and go to the doctor and just do his checkups. It was a little bit boring seeing his day-to-day life when I went there to see him fight.
Yeah, everything outside of the doctor's office was really unneeded, because the doctor's office shows that he's addicted to this pain medication, which I kind of assumed that when you went to the doctor. But most of the other stuff in Act 1 just doesn't matter. The bowl comes up later, that he spent a lot of money on this expensive bowl and it gets broken later. But that's it. That's all that comes with the bowl.
Yeah, there was quite a few things that didn't come back, like the Japanese fighter not getting his money.
Yeah, he got gypped by his Japanese sponsors. It just doesn't come up later. He doesn't have money problems at all. Mm-hmm. But now, overall, this movie wasn't absolutely horrible, but with the most boring first act I've probably watched in the past year or so. I was just clocked out by the end of Act 1. This film did pick up near the end of Act 2 and beginning of Act 3. That was pretty good. But by that point in time, I was so disinterested in the characters, the story, and the antagonist, being addiction, the pain of losing, and his girlfriend, that no matter what this film did, it just couldn't grab my attention back. If I could give this a 1.5, I would, but I'm giving The Smashing Machine a 1 out of 5 reels.
Okay. I agree with you. The first act was weak. I feel like they could have used that time a little bit better, but I did like how they used it to show how simple Mark's life was before he started losing. All he did was get high and win fights while his girlfriend happily supported him, and he didn't seem to have an issue with that. I liked seeing Dwayne Johnson take on a role that isn't just him playing himself in an action movie. He did a good job portraying real-life struggles like addiction and domestic violence. As an MMA fan, I enjoyed learning about these guys because this was the pioneer. These were pioneers. Mark Kerr and everybody else in this movie, they kind of started this whole sport, and it's interesting to see where it all came from. I enjoyed this movie all around, and for those reasons, I'm going to give The Smashing Machine a 3 out of 5 reels.
That's going to be all for this episode of Reel to Reel. Make sure to follow us on our Facebook and YouTube pages below. Drop a comment about your thoughts on The Smashing Machine and about what movies you'd like to see us review next.
Tune in next time when we review the new Death Stalker, which is a recreation from the 80s Death Stalker.
We'll see you next time.